Good morning. I'm going to walk a mile with Eli Barsi this morning. Good morning, Eli. How are you?
Good morning, Joe. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for making yourself available for me for this feature.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, I had the great good pleasure of meeting you at a songwriters meeting in Saskatoon, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was
Hmm.
I was so taken by your energy, your positive energy, and I just wonder if you could talk a little bit about your underlying approach to the music that you make and that you've been making for professionally now for what, 36, 37
Yeah,
years?
going on 37 years.
Yeah, talk about that energy that you have.
Well, I think that most people that are in the arts that love expressing themselves through art, whether it be music or painting or writing or dance or theater, I think there's a certain joy about this group of people. When you get a chance to present your art and you get good feedback and it's new every day, your creative possibilities are never ending, you're learning all the time. I think there's just that just gives you right there, it gives you a pep in your step every day. It does me anyways. I feel blessed that I have new ideas and plans and projects in my brain all the time, and it keeps me moving forward. So that keeps me joyful, knowing that there's always something else I can try and that's something else I can create. And I have a very strong faith, so that blessing of joy comes from that as well, because I have the joy of the Lord in my heart.
Yeah,
And when you have that, above all, speaking personally, when you have that, there's daily joy,
yeah,
no matter what, and I don't know, I don't think I'd be as positive and busy and creative if I didn't have that joy to begin with.
yes. You've
Yeah.
been you've been working as a professional musician for something like 36 years, 37 years, going on 37. You have
Hmm.
17 albums out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're working on it. You're working on an 18th, and maybe we can talk about that in a couple of minutes.
Sure.
But there seemed to be that there was you mentioned kind of a theme that runs through your music, and it was something like you write stuff about things that are real. What do you mean by that?
Well, things that are real to me, um, things that I can relate to, things that have happened to me, stories that I've heard, stories that I've lived, or stories that people have shared with me. Those things are real to me. And if I'm the one that's delivering the music, if I'm writing something for me personally to sing, because I am a performing songwriter, I want to be writing about stuff that comes from my heart, because what comes from the heart reaches the heart.
Yeah,
Um,
I
I
wrote.
think that goes for anybody in the arts. If you're going to be the one that's presenting it, that's not always the case. But because I'm the one delivering the song I'm writing, I want it to be real to me so that I can deliver it the best way, right?
Right, right. Well, can you give me a recent example, like of a song maybe that you have been inspired to write in the last week or so?
Oh, nothing recent, not recent.
Well, just one,
Well,
maybe one that's in development.
yeah, yeah. Okay, like there's always that. There's always ideas that I'm working on here and there. The other day, when it was snowing again, I live in I live in the southeastern corner of Saskatchewan, and although not all of Saskatchewan was, or prairies for that matter, in Canada, were hit by the crazy spring snowstorm
Right.
last week, we were really hit hard in this neck of the woods, and just when we thought we were going to just finally get out and do our yard work over the Easter weekend, we we couldn't even get out the door per se. Like the
Right.
drifts were right over. right over the cars. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Anyways, I started a little idea of a song called "It's a Good Day," and I just thought and it was gray outside. It was just not even so much snow, but it was gray as well. At least when the sun is shining, you have that little bit of hope when you look out the window. But it was an awful day. But I was kind of inspired to just think opposite, and I had this idea. It's a good day, and just because of all the other reasons that it's a good day, even though it's so depressing.
Right.
And I think there's so many great songs out there, great songs being written all the time, and there's so many negative songs and relationship songs, and I just really lean towards writing stuff that's going to lift people up and bring some joy and hope and maybe there aren't enough of those kind of songs. So
yes, right.
Maybe I can do my part to contribute that way.
Yeah. So would you call that a bit of a mission of your music, is to lift people up?
Yes, that's a great way of putting it. I appreciate if you get that from listening to my music or listening to me. I think that it's important to kind of be thinking that way and direct my writing and anything art that I create to point it in that direction.
Yeah. So now, are you a disciplined kind of songwriter? Do you sit down and say, okay, I'm going to take an hour and a half now, and I'm going to write, or do you respond to moments of inspiration, like with the weather, or how do you approach your songwriting process?
Very much like the latter. It's an inspiration, and all of a sudden there's an idea, and I have to stop and write it down or turn on my voice memo. I've tried to sit down and be disciplined, and I suppose when I have something that's in the works and it's 3/4 of the way done, I can sit down and say, okay, I got to finish this today, and then that's a little easier to follow through with that process. But if I say, okay, I'm going to sit down and write, from 9 till 10:30,
right,
Tuesday morning.
Yeah, that's
although I'd love to be able to do that, I'm not. I'm just not. So it just doesn't come. It's got to come naturally.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you've always been an independent artist. I know that your husband is also, like this being John Cunningham, right?
Right.
Is also the bass player, and he does a lot of the recording technology with you.
Yeah.
So have you always been independent, or have you ever signed with anybody? I mean, you've been pretty independent, right, for your career?
Yeah, very independent. Pretty much dependent my whole career, as far as not having a record label. No, that's never happened. I created my own record label, and eventually. And independent really in the way now where I do my own management and bookings. And in the past, I did have managers and booking agents.
Right.
And that was all great. And sometimes it gets to a point where it's sometimes easier if you take that on, if you have the business chops. And because we're really poignant, directed when we know where we want to play, we know where we need to go and play, we know where our audience is, and so sometimes it's easier if you do all that on your own. So I'm beyond independent when it comes to that, and I don't like to, I like to involve people though as much as I can when we can have extra band members, when I can have other people help market or help present, co-present shows. Yeah, we're always trying to include people when we can, but having to depend on people that way all the time is really hard. And and music business is so sporadic, anyways. And having a record deal would have been fabulous, but it never worked out for me.
Yeah.
So I didn't let that stop me though, because there was always a way to to make it work, and
Yeah.
so far it's working.
Yeah, you call yourself a performing songwriter, and I really like that. I think that's a great label. And I just wonder, how do you manage, your family life with that performing kind of sometimes can be a grueling existence, right?
Oh, for sure.
How do you manage that?
Well, it's easier now than it was 20 years ago when my daughter was small.
Right.
We have having my husband work with me. Thankful he's a musician and driver and has that technology edge. He's really great sound man. So we're working together.
Yeah,
all the
that's great.
time.
Yeah, that's terrific.
But yeah, we haven't always though. In the beginning of my career, when I first started recording, he had other jobs. We were living in Alberta, but it just worked out great because he was working for Edmonton Transit. So there was one of us had a regular job.
The day gig, right?
Yes, and that was really important when I transitioned from bar work to I'm not going to do bars anymore. I'm just going to do one night shows because I'm a recording artist, and
right.
It takes a long time to sell that and for people to get it, and so you have to turn down work. And, and so that allowed me to turn down the work that wasn't right for me anymore, and then with our daughter being small. At that time, there was so much work in the Edmonton and Alberta area. We didn't have to go too far to do shows,
right,
and to market and that. And I had good family help, or she came with us, or
sure.
and we didn't miss a single game at school or play or recital. We just made it work, and that sometimes you're turning things down because.
Right.
Your child has a play
that
they're going to be in, and they want mom and dad there. And,
of course.
So it's a balance. And
And
you cipher through what's most important. That comes first. And then, if you do it, you can do it right. And I think there's always room for all those opportunities. When you turn them down, they'll come back again.
Sure.
You turn them down for the right reason, right?
Right. So would you characterize your music as classic country? I know there's a term out there these days called old-timey music, or what was genre? What's the best label that you could find for your music?
Oh, that's a tough one. Because some of my stuff that I have, some of my songs I have on the radio are really produced and polished and slick, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word, just because they're, on country music radio and they have to fit the commercial format. So some of my music is like that. Some of my music is stripped right down, like recordings just to guitar and vocal and bass.
Yep.
So when you're polishing it up and making it all shiny, well, it's a little more top 40 country.
Right.
If you're just listening to it. But if you're, and then you strip all that away, it's the same song exactly would sound old-timey.
Yeah.
Because it's just me and my guitar.
Right.
So I guess maybe listening to the lyric of my music, it's traditional.
Yeah. That's a good word. Yeah. That's a good word. Yeah.
Who knows? Something like that. But it seems we go in a few different directions, and I like that we have a little bit of, quite a bit of a variety.
Right. A lot of that with live shows, you'd be responding to audience, the energy in the room, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now you yodel.
I do.
Yeah, and you love to yodel, and I'm wondering when and why that started. Where did that come from?
Oh, well, I didn't always yodel. I had probably been out there playing for 10 or more years.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't always. People think I started yodeling when I was little. No, I was already in my career, and I was doing maybe more of the top 40 country stuff for sure, because it was always a full band and
Right.
bigger shows. And I had an opportunity I got invited to play at a Cowboy Festival.
Yeah.
So what's this? And it was in the town I was living in, Stony Plain, Alberta. They have a really great cowboy gathering, they call it, but it's a festival. But everything is Western. So Western theme, the stories, the songs, the poetry,
right,
everything is that theme and promoting our Western heritage. And so when they invited me to do just a little set one afternoon amongst other performers, I went, and I had okay, what do I have in my repertoire that's cowboy?
That's a good
really
fit. Yeah.
So I had two songs, Cattle Call and Cowboy Sweetheart. And I didn't really have a yodel for them, although there's yodeling in them.
Yeah.
Anyways, I performed those songs, and then I didn't have really enough material. I put in some other music, stuff that I've written, and leaning towards that, but still it wasn't deliberately for that festival. I felt like I was invited, but I was the wrong genre almost. So when I did get invited back again the next year, and I thought, I want to have some real material, and this is my heritage.
Yes.
So I'm going to write.
Right.
Tap into that and write something and have a product to sell that is relaying the songs that I'm performing at the festival. Well, I also have that recorded, and that all makes sense. And so then, and my mom had said, she actually said, you should learn how to yodel. Those songs, a couple of those songs you're doing have yodeling in them. People would really like it. And I liked it, but I thought it was kind of corny, to tell you the truth. And but she said, you should learn how to yodel. People will really like it. I'm like, I don't know. And so I tried. I thought, well, I'll try. And I couldn't. Right off the bat, I thought, well, I'll get this. No, I didn't get it.
It is a little tricky.
Horrible.
It's a tricky vocal thing to do, right?
Yeah. And I didn't really have anybody to tell me how to do it.
Right.
I was just listening to Will Carter and Patsy Montana and Elton Brand and all the old yodelers. And I'm like, it's really hard to just get it from listening to it. And anyways, I wrote it out, the yodel, as if it was lyrics.
I see.
And then just listen for where their voice changed from head voice to chest voice.
Right.
And then just started working on that, because that's what yodeling is. So worked on it, and then when I got it, I thought, this is so fun. And if I could master this and make it, I'm not a fancy yodeler by any means, but I think more importantly, it's learn how to actually do the yodel, and for it to be on key.
Right. Yeah. Well, it is. And
the pitch has to be good, and then if you have a nice little yodel pattern, and that's I think pleasing. It's not as corny as I thought.
Yeah.
And if people laugh, well, that's great, because they're enjoying it.
Still enjoyment. Yeah. So it's funny you mentioned the song "Cattle Call." Was that a Wolf Carter song?
No, Eddie Arnold.
It was Eddie Arnold.
Tex Owen wrote it, and Eddie Arnold had the first big hit with it.
It's one of the first songs I remember as a child. I used to sing that song, and I love that song. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Isn't it awesome? So do you yodel a little bit as well, Joe?
No, I don't. I could. When I was a kid, I certainly could, and I think I probably did. But there was, there's, again, it's the chest voice and head voice, right? So it is. But it's just a very cool, and it kind of puts you in a certain lane musically, doesn't it? Like I always think about people like Dolly Parton and Porter Wagner and those folks when I think about that kind of music. The other thing I want to ask you about is your guitar playing, Eli. You're a very good guitar player. You're lots of people who are good singers aren't necessarily very good guitar players, but you're an accomplished guitar player, right? Like, Where
Well,
did,
thank you.
yeah. I mean, it's not so you don't do this just the simple 1 4 5 strumming chord along thing. You're doing complex chord progressions and picking
Hmm.
patterns, right?
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So
Yep.
how
So,
hard was that for you to acquire? I mean, learning to play the guitar well is not easy.
well, no, it isn't, and it's just a matter of not giving up. When you get to that point, I'm just self-taught, and I should go back many, many years. My dad had all the Carter family albums. He was a
Yeah.
big fan of the first family of country music, the Carter
Yes.
family.
Yes.
So he played those records, those long, cold winter nights on the prairie.
Right.
Played those records over and over again. And Mother Maybelle Carter was the
Right.
lead player for the group. And she picked out the melody on the guitar
Yep.
while she strummed the chord.
Yes.
So this is a very cool method, and it actually is coined as the Carter scratch.
Right.
So this was instilled in my brain, and I'm
Huh.
listening to this,
Huh.
but not even knowing that
That's
I'm
what you're doing.
memorizing it. And
Right.
when I
Yeah.
learned how to play the guitar or picked up the guitar, I did not say, "Oh, I'm going to learn to play the card scratch." I just wanted to learn to play the guitar and accompany myself. I was 12,
Yeah.
and
You were
I just
12.
learned
Yeah.
self-taught with chords out of a book,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
and then as I got to play better, like quicker changes, and you start to I play by ear, so
Of course.
you listen to a song, you want to learn a song, and there's that funny chord in there. It's not just 1 4 5. There's one more chord in there. What is
Right.
it? And I would search and find it. And the more you do that,
Yeah.
the better you become it. You're training your ears,
Right.
developing it
Right.
to
Right.
hear all those parts more and
Right.
more, and it's easier to figure stuff out the more you do it. And
Right.
and
Right.
then strumming wasn't good enough anymore. Just strumming,
Right.
there's a big hole in the song. When there's an instrumental
Right.
portion, there's just a hole if you just strum,
Yeah.
strum for
Right.
me.
Yeah.
And if I was by myself playing, which I did for lots of years, well, I want to fill that out with something. So I
Right.
just noticed that, I can kind of pick out a melody and then just worked on that. And
Right.
it's
Right.
just developed into, a mean Cardi scratch,
Yeah. Yeah.
which
Well,
I
it's
love to play. And
yeah. Well, it's great. It's a unique style. It's a wonderful
you.
style. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
So, Eli, tell me about your next project. You have the 18th album. Is it sort of ready to go into the studio, or is it, do you have the songs written, or where is that at?
Yeah, there's quite a few songs that are in this pile, and not all of them will. I'm noticing they're not all going to fit on the same project.
Yep.
I could make them fit, but I think that there's going to be two separate projects. Realistically, because one is leaning way more toward the Western Roots
Okay.
album with the same Western heritage theme and yodeling and just very traditional. And the other one is gospel flavored. And I was thinking of maybe something that I really haven't, kind of a folk rock gospel acoustic lean.
Oh, wow.
So gospel, but maybe a little bit of a folky rock edge to it.
Yes. Nice.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of what they're looking like. And so I've kind of separated them into two piles. And I thought, well, two albums more. And sometimes you can work at two projects at one time, when you're getting things,
sure,
musicians in to record parts. Well,
right.
Can you do this on this song, and while you're here,
right,
pop over here, and
right,
that kind of thing, and just
Do you have
that's where it's going, but
do you have
still a little ways off. I wish I could speed it up, but it's just can't be sped up too much.
Doesn't always happen that way, hey?
No.
I know that in response to the pandemic, when you couldn't tour, you couldn't perform, you turned your gaze to painting and visual art.
I did.
Yeah, and you opened your gallery.
I did.
Yeah.
That's just not a plan, not part of the plan at all.
Yeah.
It's funny how things happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been painting for about 6 years. And so I have done a little bit of that on the side, and I take paintings with me on the road to sell on my merch table
Nice.
and do a few commissions here and there. But then when I found myself not being able to go anywhere or do anything, I just I thought that I would sit and write, a million songs, but
Right,
no,
right. Huh.
no. My heart
Interesting.
pushed me this other direction to paint, so I
Huh.
painted every day, all day.
Huh. Well, that's
And
cool. So is it called Prairie Girl Gallery? Is that what it is?
yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, and the prairies are really central to your art, isn't it? Aren't they? The whole
yes,
prairie lifestyle,
hmm
the geography, the weather.
yeah, very much so. That's where my heart is, on the prairies. Growing up, southeastern Saskatchewan, and I didn't know when I left that I would move back here even. And so since I have moved back 10 years now, everything is centered around or a derivative of the prairies,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
paintings, music. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
prairie flavored everything.
Yeah, well, it seems you have a unique. I think you have a unique lane that you're traveling down.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed meeting you and hearing your music. And you know what? We're actually we've walked a little further than a mile now, Eli.
Oh, have we? Sometimes that happens.
Anything you want to say to anybody in closing?
Well, just follow your dreams and aim high and keep being great and being a bright light to everybody. And when you do that, all your dreams come to pass for sure.
Yeah, well, that's just great. Well, listen, thank you again.
Thank you. This has been so much fun visiting with you, Joe. I appreciate being on your great show.
And I'll let you know when it's going to air, and I'll certainly provide the link for the full interview when it's ready. I'll probably take an image off of your website if that's all right,
Sure.
or if you want to send me one that you prefer. I mean, I do an image with it when I post it on the YouTube channel.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, and just so people can identify it, and so if you have one that you like, you could send it to me. But if not, I'll pick one from your site, and you've got lots of great images to choose from too, and great videos
Oh,
as well.
oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
Thanks so much. Well,
Okay.
yeah, feel free to just pick whatever. And then, did you need some MP3 sent your way?
Well, I have the stuff that's on the stuff that you have on iTunes or Apple Music. I can easily get access to, but
Oh, okay,
some
sure.
of the older material isn't on there, is it?
No,
No, I would like. I know
unfortunately
that
not.
I'm planning to use. I'm planning to, Portrait of a Cowgirl and I See You Everywhere. Those two are definitely going to be part of it. I haven't picked the other songs yet. So if there's some
Okay.
old stuff that you have that you think would be of interest, I'd appreciate it if you sent me MP3s.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
love to.
yeah.
What do I have your email
I don't think
or
so. I'll.
no?
You know what? I'll send it to you in the text. I'll send it to you on the messenger, and that's the
Okay, that
easiest.
would be
That's
great.
probably the easiest.
Sure, and then I can send how many?
Ah,
How
three,
many?
three or four.
Okay, and I'll probably send it in an a we
That's
transfer,
fine. Yep.
and
Perfect.
then you know how to open that. It's
Yeah,
easy.
that's perfect. Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
sure.
great. Thanks, Eli.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
You too. Take care. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.